Welcome to our guest today. He started his career at Middlesbroughs, progressing through the academy, making his first team debut in the English Premier League at the young age of 17. He was England captain from under 16s to 20s, representing England at the under 20s World Cup. If that's not impressive enough, he also scored that famous winning goal for Aberdeen against Bayern Munich in the UEFA Cup. Please welcome our guest today, Josh Walker. You've touched on Steve McClaren quite a lot. So how influential was he, and what sort of lessons did you learn from him in terms of his management style? I know you're a coach now. Did you pick up a lot of things that he used to do that you think, do you know what, that's looking back now, like you're going to start using going forward?
Well, I think his sessions were certainly brilliant.
Was he a coach then?
He was a coach, yeah. He used to, well, he was one manager, but he coached the majority of things. We had another one, Steve Round, who was, I can't remember if Round, he was the assistant or the first team coach. But the two of them, the time and effort they put in with me. Like I remember, this is mental looking back, like Steve Round McClaren came and got us after training one day. He said, Josh, can we have a word? And they were like, they had this like sheet of paper with things on, and I can't remember what it was saying, like certain things, what you want to achieve in the game, what you want to do. And this is their words to me. They went, you're going to be the Frank Lampard for us. This is at 16. And I'm sat there. Oh, I loved Lampard, but I loved him even more now because they were saying I was like him. So they're like, you're going to be the Lampard for us. Work on these things and you're going to be the Lampard for us. And I was like, wow. Like, so the way they took the time to speak to me individually, now I know everyone will have their own opinion on managers, and I've got my opinion on other managers that I've had. But the way they were with me, I thought, I was already naturally like someone who like I'd always been a captain. Yeah. And so I take time with people. I like to understand people. Yep. But they understood me and they took the time to understand me. So I think that's something that stands out. Man management. Yep. For them with me, the man management, like I said, everyone will have different opinions. Yep. But them with me was incredible. I was a kid. Yeah. And they didn't have to do that. No one else was getting that.
Showing that confidence in you.
Just confidence from it, like I said,
I love the fact they're setting goals. Like
but the goals were like, you know, you're thinking like, God, they're astronomical goals. Like, how am I getting there? But because they're talking to you, like
planting seeds.
Aye, and when you're going to be the Frank Lampard for us, like I grew 10 foot.
And was that a Premier League debut you made?
It was. So it was. It actually came a lot later in the season than what it would have without the injuries, you know. So, but it was still in my first year. So everything in my first year, the only thing I didn't achieve is I didn't score in the first team in a proper match. I'd scored in a friendly, but not in a proper match. But we were running out of time for this. Like in my head, I'm thinking, we just had the England under 17 qualifiers. And we had one Premier League game left, and we had the UEFA Cup final, Middlesbroughs in the final. Right. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to play. Like, it's like, not the final, but I mean, there's no way I'm going to play now. Yep. Do you know what I mean? I've missed so many games with injuries. All I've had is this England tournament. Come back, and I remember Stewie Downing coming in the gym, and he's like, there's a few rumours, like a few young lads are going to play at the weekend. I think Stewie was obviously in with, and he knew exactly what was happening, and he was saying it to me and another few of the young lads. What ended up happening is they took a full squad of all the younger lads. So like the lads who were breaking into the team, the lads on the edges, and
is that the rest boys for the final?
Rest everyone for the final. Yep. So I'm the youngest one. I got picked in the squad and on the bench, and couldn't believe it. Do you know what I mean? Away at Fulham. That was brilliant. And then after 55, 60 minutes, like I'm the youngest one, first sub to come on, McClaren's like, right, I know you haven't played that, but you're on.
Again, showing faith in you.
Aye, do you know what I mean? As a kid, and at that point just went on, and I was just off. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I got the ball in midfield, and I just broke forward, took on a couple of players, and I slid Danny Graham in. Danny always scores these chances, right? Always. Danny was one of the best finishers. ball coming across, and he'd always hit it in the bottom corner across the keeper. So anyway, I've broke from midfield outside of my left foot. I've put him in like that. I'm like, score, Danny, please score. And he's just smashed it straight at the keeper. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, man, you score that every chance you get. Every other chance he scores. But he missed it. But I just felt, I don't know if it was because I was playing with all the lads that I played with.
You're a bit more calmer and used to your surroundings.
But you're playing against, like, so, do you remember, he's died now, sadly, that Bopper Diop. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
So I'm playing against him. Like, he's like 6'6". I'm a young kid. Like, Steve McClaren.
Were you nervous going into it or just excited?
I remember just like all game, I felt as if I was warming up the whole time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Before I come on, I just wanted to come on. I can't remember, but obviously I would have been nervous.
And how was it feeling after it? Was it just like absolute buzzing?
I was just, do you know what? It was just mint.
Like, tick.
Yeah, like it was just class. Like just walking over. We lost 1-0. But for a bunch of young lads, like we played really well.
Yeah.
And it was just a great feeling coming off the game, clapping your fans. Do you know what I mean? Seeing your mum and dad, you know, they're part of this as well. Like, we worked so hard to do this, you know, and it's just brilliant.
Ray Parlour was in the squad.
So Ray Parlour. So at the end of that season, Steve McClaren. So we got the UEFA Cup final. Steve McClaren. We lost. Steve McClaren then got the England job.
Yeah.
Which I think for him, it certainly come probably a year too early.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, if he'd stayed one more year, careers would have gone completely different.
Yeah.
Southgate got the job.
So again, it shows how important having like a good coach in terms of youth development is. Like as soon as you get another coach in that's not got the same principles or views.
Well, so Southgate at the time when he come in, like I was still, to be honest, if I hadn't got injured I was with him pre-season, played Chef Wed first team friendly away at Hillsborough, played at Ibrox, so I played first team friendly still. But I got injured the last pre-season game against Leeds, got smashed and did me medial ligament on my knee. Right. So I was out for 4 months. Who knows what would have happened. But I still think it probably would have been delayed, me getting in the first team. And it was like, he'd gone from that transition of being captain to being manager, but still having the likes of Hasselbank, Viduka, Ray Parlour,
experienced players,
massive players, you know. And but when you mentioned Ray Parlour, so we had Southgate's first meeting. So we had this meeting room, and Southgate was obviously called like Skip or Gareth or Gate, and we'd had this meeting, and then he said at the end, "Look, lads, as well, like I don't want you to call us them names anymore. It's just either gaffer or boss." So everyone sat there. Right? Ray Parlour went, "What about fucking Big Nose?" And honestly, like the room, like you could have dropped you would have heard a pin hit the floor.
Nobody laughed.
Well, everyone was trying not to. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, what about fucking Big Nose? And but he was, honestly, Ray was hilarious. So funny. Like, so funny, man. And but he didn't play. He
never played again?
Nah, he very rarely played. But he just tried to phase him out.
What was Gareth Southgate's transition like for a player to a manager? Was it a tough one for the players to adjust to that?
I think it's probably, you know, I'm just going off my opinion. I think if he's honest, I think you'd probably say he found that difficult. He probably couldn't be his true self, maybe. I don't know, because, you know, this was a year after that. So his second year. We were playing, was it the second year? I don't know. I can't remember which year it was, but it was the year I broke into the first team properly. And but we had Mido. Right. So Mido was some character, like he was brilliant. Nightmare for a manager, like the worst. But we're playing West Ham away in the FA Cup, and he's remember Southgate putting up like playing 4-3-3. Miro's like playing like left striker.
Yep.
Miro's like, nah. I'll play up front. I'll play up front on my own, or I'll play in the two. This is in front of everyone. Everyone who's in the squad, he's like, nah. Gaffer, I don't play there. You know me, I play up front in the two, or I'll play on my own, but I'm not a left winger. We end up changing the formation to suit me though, so we end up playing 4-4-2. And it's like just little things like that. Probably the authority side.
I think you'll be learning the ropes as well. So
100%. It's a massive job.
It would be very hard transition, I think, going into a player and in management of a team.
Premier League team where you've been the captain. Like, to be fair to him, like, I've always said this on any podcast or any interview I've ever done. Mm-hmm. Southgate is one of the best blokes you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
He will sit and chat and he'll listen, whether you're the chairman of the club or whether you're the caretaker.
Yeah.
He has time for everyone. And that's something I picked up off him. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't have to take the time with anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as much as there was lots of times, like I felt, so after my Aberdeen loan, I come back that season, pre-season, and I felt at that point, I thought, I'm the best midfielder you've got. Like, I was playing that well, mm-hmm. and I thought, I have to be in this team. Like, but I was dominating every game I was playing. It almost seemed like everyone was saying, you're going to be playing.
Yep.
But he just held us back. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you kind of, I don't know, the type of player I was.
Do you reckon he's done that though because of lack of experience, where he's maybe...
Well, possibly, but you see it. See the traits in him now with the England team. Mm-hmm. I see it now.
Yeah,
like you've got that Wharton who's there. You've took him. He's the out of that squad they've got. He's the best forward passing midfielder.
Yep. From
the holding position, mm-hmm. and he plays Declan Rice there, who doesn't pass forward.
Yep.
And you're like, Declan Rice is a centre half, or he's someone who plays slightly higher. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I remember those traits. Like, he'd sometimes play centre halves in midfield. Do you know what I mean? And
defensive.
Just so defensive. But like that season, I only played about 4 or 5 games because of the injuries. But I also was on the bench about 25 times in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. When I broke into the team, so when I did break into the team, we played Barrow in the FA Cup. But it took until January. I'd been injury free for that first 6 months of the season, dominating reserve team games, like playing really well. First team training, I honestly felt that I was one of the best players there at that time. I really, really believed that. And just, when's this chance going to come?
Yep.
And I felt it should have come at the start of the season after the pre-season, but it didn't. But there were clubs were coming in to take us on loan all the time.
Yep.
But it was me saying no. I said, I'm not going.
Yep.
I'll get my chance.
Even that, I think, shows confidence.
But it did get to the point where I thought I'm going to have to, because nothing seemed to change. I was on It's
difficult because it's like, I suppose you talk about luck again. Like, you could go out on loan, mm-hmm. and then if somebody gets injured, mm-hmm. would they pull somebody else in, or if you were still there, would you then step in?
I know.
And being patient worked in your favour.
It was the first time I'd been patient, because mm-hmm. before that, I'd been impatient. I'd been injured for a while and just want to go on loan to be playing. And that's when I said, probably not listening to the agents as mm-hmm. much as I should have.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
As an adult now looking back, would you have had a conversation with Southgate about actually playing? Did you have a conversation with him? Or
so his first year in charge, I had been injured quite a lot, and so I don't know how that season would have panned out, mm-hmm. whether I would have played a few games or not. I don't know. But I'd got back fit, played a few reserve games, was doing well. But there was big players in front of us. Do you know what I mean? Like Parla, Mendieta, was Boateng still there? There was proper centre mids, experienced footballers there. And I wanted to be playing first team football because I'd had that experience the season before. I'd had Steve McClaren, Steve Round in my year. You're going to be Frank Lampard I had all this still in my head, mm-hmm. but I was nowhere near it the first team with Southgate at that point. So I did go in and have a chat with him, and I was like, I called him Gaffer, not Big Nose, like, so. I started off on a positive. I started off on a positive. I was like, look, I've only played this amount of games this season with the injuries and stuff. And he was like, well, look, Josh, we're going to get you out on loan. We've had a few teams come in to take you on loan. So do you want to go to Bournemouth for a month? And I was like, all over it. I was like, aye. So did that. So we did have a chat about that. But like I said, when I did break into the team, even though I felt I should have been playing a lot sooner, once I did get in the team, he would pull us and say why I wasn't playing, or because I still see it now though. Like I said, with the traits of like he holds players back, like, and I felt I was massively held back.
So you very rarely see any negative about Gareth Southgate, even with players that haven't played. Do you reckon it's because he is open and honest with his communication?
Yeah. Like, football is opinions. Do you know, like, me and you will have a completely different opinion on a player. But that doesn't mean we're right or wrong. But if you're honest enough to say that to the player, then that's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair to him, like I said, we played Barrow FA Cup. I got man of the match. I didn't expect this. And the following week, we're playing Sunderland in the Premier League. Teeswear Derby, starting. And I thought at that point, class. 2 minutes in, break my ankle. Do you know what I mean? So, well, I didn't realise I broke my ankle. I'd fractured it. I think I ended up breaking it because I played on until half time. But the adrenaline got us through.
Again, you'll be desperate to show that you can play and get your opportunity.
Well,
it shows you again how much luck's involved in terms of...
Of course it is. Like, I'd gone the first 6 months of my career, gone into not getting injured and playing week in, week out of the reserves and whatever, not going on loan to get that chance in the first team. You get your big break and 2 minutes in that happens. And I played on until half time and the adrenaline got us through and I honestly playing really well. I knew there was no way I was coming out for the second half. My ankle was so swollen. But I thought, I'm not getting taken off at half time and it being in the paper. Because people don't even go and watch the game who do the paper. So I thought, if I come off at half time, I'm getting a 4. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I didn't say anything. Went out second half, trying my best. And I thought, nah. So I just sat down and had to come off. But
fair play, even the determination for that, to try and play with a broken ankle. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I know. But I probably didn't do myself any favour. If I'd come off after the first 2 minutes, I might not have done the extent of what I did. So it was like an avulsion fracture. So the ligament coming off the bone. So that's what had happened.
So what was the time period recovery on that?
Well, so this was the thing. So they were saying it'll be at least 6 weeks before. I was like, oh, for God's sake, man. Like, I've just got into the team and we were struggling a bit. But at that point, I was so confident and I knew I was playing well. And I knew I was better than what we had. So, but the physios were class. Like, but again, the work rate of me, like, I was in at the training ground 7 in the morning till 7 at night for 2.5 weeks. 3 weeks in, was feeling great, and we had a training match on the Thursday, just mix the first team and reserves and that, and I was in that. They put us in that, but they'd arranged that for me to see where I was in fitness level, and I was flying. So Friday trained again. Was in the squad against Blackburn on the Saturday. I was starting. This point, I thought I've made it because, like, I have trained once, and he's put us straight back in. And this is really well, played really well. We drew 0-0, but played really well. Next week we're playing Man City on the telly, on Sky. Robinho and all that lot have just signed there. I'm like, this is mint. This is going to be like, I'm so buzzing for it that week. Anyway, in the squad, and then pulls us in the morning and just says, Josh, you're not going to be starting today. And I was like, why? And he was like, oh, we're going to go with Shorty, this Egyptian midfielder. I was, to be fair, a brilliant lad, but just because he had experience and gonna
see, when he told you was that, did you go back
at that point? Like, my confidence went boom. Like, and it was, I just thought, like, you know what I mean? Like, why? Like, but obviously I wasn't saying this to him, but my confidence just dipped. And then at that point, Like,
Do you wish you had pushed back a wee bit?
I don't know if I wish I had done that. What I do wish I'd had is the same mentality I had at the start of the season. I'll show you. I'm better than every single midfielder you've got there. But I didn't. Because I'd been playing probably for the first time in my life. It wasn't an arrogance. But like, see, like after games, if you haven't, I don't know if they still do it now, but like players would run after games.
Yep.
Some players would always kick off about it. Like, I'm not running in that. I found myself doing that a couple of times.
Right.
And I would never do that. But I think something,
Frustration.
I just did, but then I lost track of where I was going, like the path I was on. Like I should have remembered as a kid, you know, like them days of maybe getting released and proving people wrong. Like proving people wrong over the last couple of years with injuries and stuff. I should have just kept that mentality. And for some reason I didn't. And I think my performance level then dipped. I still played a few games, but no, like I was getting man of the match against Blackburn in the Premier League and Barrow in the FA Cup. Like I'm doing really well to the point of where I'm coming on in games in the Premier League and you probably wouldn't even have known I was there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the saying just changed.
It shows your important confidence as well.
Oh, it did. It massively changed. But it was from that moment there.
It can make an elite athlete look average. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, at that point, because my mum and dad were coming down. Like everyone in the team thought I'd be playing. Do you know what I mean? I remember the night before being sat there with Stewie Downing and Matthew Bates, another player who was there at the time, and we're talking and we're like, "I'll be you and Batesy again in midfield tomorrow," and I just couldn't see why it wouldn't be, and then I was on the bench.
And did you speak to anybody when your confidence went?
I don't even think I was on the bench. Actually, I think he left us out the squad. I don't even think I was on the bench.
And see, when your confidence went, did you? Obviously, it was a different era, so like people are more open and honest about how they're feeling, and there's obviously coaches that work on building confidence and like setting goals, etc. Was there any of that back then, or was it just a case you just got on with yourself and that was it?
Then it was just man up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I do think there still needs to be a massive part of that where you do need to have it inside you.
That resilience.
And I had loads of resilience. But at that point,
You're human, eh?
Aye. I mean, I'm a kid.
Yeah.
18, 19-year-old lad. Just broke into the first team, getting 2-man the matches out of 3 games. I've been out for 3 weeks. You put us straight back in, got a man of the match in that game. And then the following week, it's like, you don't want to, because we're on Sky, we're playing Man City. I'm like, do you know what I mean? I just got held in my, like I said, because the expectancy of that week, like to me, it's like a cup final in my head. I'm thinking, this is on Sky. I'm going to show I'm as good as like whoever they had in midfield. I can't remember who it was at the time. But like, I knew in my head that I could do this. And it didn't happen. And then, like I said, my confidence just went.
And do you reckon that was a turning point in terms of your career?
It was certainly the turning point in terms of that season. Because like I said, I played a few games after that. But not to the, like, I wasn't standing out anymore. I was still doing okay. I was obviously doing okay because I was still coming on as a sub and that. And we ended up getting relegated and the team had lost confidence. So what was happening is, when the team didn't have confidence before, and the type of player I was, I would always get on the ball and I was starting us playing. And I felt I was building confidence within the team, even as a young lad. But then when I was coming on and I'd lost my confidence, the players around us weren't confident anyway.
Weren't sure.
So it was probably the first time in my life I remember playing Wigan Premier League, and I was crap. I was proper crap. Like I was getting on the ball, but because my confidence level wasn't as high, you almost take an extra touch. And I was just kept getting the ball taken off us loads of times in the game. Probably got the ball taken off us more in that game than I had in the last 3 yet. You know, and it was, and that, like obviously the team's struggling, so the fans are booing everywhere. It was the first time I'd experienced almost like a cauldron of crap. Do you know what I mean? And I just found it difficult. And like I said, the players in the team weren't exactly the most inspiring of players. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's Stewie Downing was that. He was incredible. But you had like in my opinion, like fannies in the team. Do you know what I mean? And they didn't help young lads.
When it going gets tough, like,
they turned their back.
And you can see people for who they truly are. I think when you're in a tough situation, who's the ones that step up and lead, and who's the one that finger points. Watching England at the 2014 World Cup, you said that was a tough time for yourself. Can you talk us through that?
It was, because, like I said, with all the career I'd had in the youth team level with England, I'd been captain of England from 15-year-old till I was 20. And the injuries that then set in for me after that, my career was on a downward spiral. I become bitter. Do you know what I mean? I become a total different person than what I'd ever been before. To the point where my dad couldn't watch football because he was bitter.
Yep.
And there's no way we could have watched football together because it was horrific. How, like, my mum in the house must have hated it because it was just toxic, you know, like, yeah.
It must be difficult though, because you've obviously been the best player predominantly for your youth level. You've captained England, you've played with all these players, and you're now seeing a lot of them get like stardom, be successful, like represent England in the World Cup.
Because see me as a person, I'm one of these people that wants people to do well. Like at that point in my life, mentally I'm struggling.
Yep.
Physically I'm struggling. Trying to watch players that you're ahead of.
Yep.
That don't get in the team because you're there. You get an injury and it's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's I found it really difficult, probably for like, I don't know how many years, I'd say at least 2 or 3 years. It was difficult to things that were spiraling, and my life was spiraling completely, you know. And then trying to watch football was.
And how much support was there in place? So obviously you had a bit of support. I'm imagining when things are going really well, like you said, you had sponsorships at Adidas. There was loads, just about every club in England were after you. So you've got a lot of people around you. What happens when it obviously doesn't go to plan? Are the same people giving you support, or is everybody just sort of walked away at that point?
Everyone's gone, and it's like, I mean, I say everyone, your family are always there. Lots of people that I thought would be there, or you'd like to think would have been there, weren't. So when you go to lower clubs, they've still got this expectancy of you being the Josh Walker of Premier League, England captain. When you've got all these injuries and I'm not the player I was 3-4 years ago.
Yep.
Like, if I was, there's no way I'm going to be at Scunthorpe. There's no way I'm going to be at Gateshead. Every season, my career was getting worse and worse. But the expectancy of us was, what's wrong with you? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm like,
it must be frustrating for yourself as well, because I'm assuming you can still see the pass. But yeah, it's just the case your body won't move in the same way it used to. There's
2 games, so that standout was massive. Mentally at this point, I'd gone. Right, I was playing for Scunthorpe, League One. My knee was in such a state, like mentally, I've completely gone in this game. I don't know, something come over us. Right, we're playing Hartlepool, which at that point was a huge game because it was like a relegation battle.
Yeah,
massive game in terms of the season. I'm not kidding you. I have no idea what happened in that first half. Like, I was just wandering about the pitch. Like, it was horrendous. But I had no feeling.
Yeah.
Like, it was honestly the weirdest thing ever. Half time, Brian Law's the manager. He's slating us. I'm just sat there like, he said, "You're coming off." I've never seen a performance like that. I'm like, what do you think? Oh, walking about. But something, I don't know what it was. I just think at that point in my life, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
20-year-old playing the Premier League, 22, my knee's hanging off in Scunthorpe. Do you know what I mean? Yep. It's like, so I remember that just being the point where if someone had said there, your contract's getting ripped up, you can't, I would have been like, oh, it's fine. And then obviously, I went and had a chat. He had a chat with me later in the week. And to be honest, I was open and honest with him.
Yep.
And he says, well, I tell you what, Josh, I'm going to start you the next game. And it was probably the best thing for us.
Fair play on him as well, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, he played us the next game, but he didn't help us either. Like in the press, like because we all knew behind the scenes like my knee wasn't great.
Yep.
So what they'd done at Scunthorpe, they'd offered us a new contract, but they'd offered us on less money.
Right.
Now we just had, I wasn't fortunes I was on, it was nowhere near it. We just had a baby, and they'd offered us less money to stay, and we'd got relegated.
Yep.
And he was like, he come out in the press and he's like, that didn't go out in the press, him offering us a deal, but he put in the press, oh, Josh is struggling again this weekend, his knees are ticking time bomb. So like everyone's seeing this.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
I try to put other clubs off.
Taking you.
Like
it's not that I didn't have a choice of clubs anymore. It's not like I could pick where I wanted to go. It was difficult for us because it was quite common knowledge I wasn't fit. But anyway, the money was really poor what they offered us. And so I decided to leave. Looking back, probably should have stayed because the offers that were coming in were awful, really. And it got to the point where I was 23. Had I just turned 24? Maybe just turned 24, and I'd got one offer at the at the end of the season off Oxford. Chris Wilder was the manager. He'd offered us a deal. That was it. I didn't get I had a couple of I went down for a meeting at Crewe. Thought I was going to maybe sign there, but I was like, that was it. Was there an element of you that wanted to stop? Oh, I mean, there was. I can't see what I was going through at the time. Obviously, mentally trying to cover up how you're really feeling. Do you know what I mean? Putting a brave face all the time. Putting a brave face on, like masking the pain with alcohol, like going out far too much. Yeah. Like causing relationships, family life to mess it up. Do you know what I mean? And it's I caused a lot of destruction at that time in my life. The thing is, you're still young at that point and been through so much. And the thing is, you do hear athletes talk a lot. It's like, see when they hit the sort of pinnacle, and then things don't, like once they've reached that, it can be difficult if they don't keep reaching those heights. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, you the age you were playing in the Premier League and then having a bad injury, and it's all like happened in the space of a couple of years. It must have been like... Oh, my career just fell off a cliff. Completely fell off a cliff. And it was... I felt there was nothing I could do anymore. Like, see when if you're fully fit, like I said, when I was playing in the first team at Middlesbroughs, and my confidence went. Like, that's something that will come back. Do you know what I mean? Like, by the time I'm 24, I'm on to my 4th operation on my knee. Like, and I'm playing the game and I'm hiding because I know I can't go in areas and turn quickly anymore. It was, it was just horrendous, really. I can imagine. And you didn't be enjoying the games either. I mean, you're not enjoying it, even that aspect. It's like... Nah. And it was horrendous. It really was horrendous. And I mean, like I said, when it got to the point of I knew I couldn't get my career back anymore. So I was playing part-time football with Edinburgh City. And it was probably the first time in years, don't get us wrong, I was nowhere near what I was. But because you trained 2 nights a week, and I only had to train once. The manager, Gary Jardine, was brilliant. Like, he totally understood that. Trained one night, play Saturday. I was really enjoying it again. Like, take away the level, it was... Do you think you were enjoying it though because you weren't trying to get back up to level? You're aware of the fact, like, you've got an injury, you are where you are, and you're just actually enjoying the experience now? Of it, Well, it was almost that type of feeling. It was great. And in that, so that what Edinburgh had agreed to do, they just agreed to give us a deal till the end of the season. So from like January to, or whenever, February to the end of the season, we ended up having a really good team and doing really well. We had Porteous on loan, and it was myself, Craig Beattie, Fareed El Agui. Like, we had like players who played first team football. That summer, the club got rid of Gary. I don't know why, but they changed a lot of things. Brought in a new manager, and like, just I was on, for part-time football, I was on a decent contract, and I don't think this manager particularly liked that I was getting way more than everyone else. Do you know what I mean? And because I wasn't training, he was then
in the background as well. I know in myself had their financial difficulties. Maybe that's an aspect of it as well.
Yeah, and it's he was then wanting us to train Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm like, I can't. Do you know what I mean? If you want us to, like, it was getting to the point where I couldn't even train once. It was really coming to the end. Do you know what I mean? It was really coming to the end. And we had a pre-season game, or you play that cup at the start of the season. I don't know what it's called. They play it now. You seem to play like a group stage.
Yep.
And we had East Kilbride, and I remember, honestly, I remember playing, and I thought, I cannot move here. I cannot move, and I'm getting screamed at the side by the manager. And I turned on, like, what are you talking to? Like, I just lost it. Played the game till half time. My boot, this is when I knew it was the end. My boot split in half, like completely split in half. And I thought, that's it. I thought, I'm done. Come in, he's ranting and raving. I'm like, finished it. Like, I can't do it anymore. So anyway, that was a Saturday. I rang my mum and dad on the Sunday, and I says, look, I'm done. I'm really, really done. I knew, like, professionally, they knew I was done a few years ago, but I thought, I'm done now. Like, I can't do this anymore. So I had a chat with the manager and the chairman, and that was it. But at that point, that was the best feeling I'd had for years. The relief. Because, like I said, I'm still trying to carry this weight on my shoulders of Josh Walker of previous. Josh Walker now is not good enough for League Two football.
Your full identity would be a footballer. So there's maybe an element of that. Once you've stopped playing, you can actually be a different person and try something new.
Exactly, and it was just a huge relief. And life for us started. It was difficult for a while, but life started to just become a bit more normal, and then. Because you've always had these goal-setting things in you, this determination. Your determination goes down different routes. Do you know what I mean? And mine's gone down my coaching company.
Leads into the next question. So you've been in and around, obviously, players that have won the Champions League, world-class athletes, world-class managers. What does it take to reach that level?
Two things, really. I think it's three. It takes three things. Firstly, you have to have, no matter what people say, you have to have some kind of ability. You can't just be, or you have to work at that ability. So this is when the next bit comes in. You have to work harder than anyone else. And by that doesn't mean going to the gym, or it might not mean the way of working hard. It might not mean going for runs. It might mean working on yourself. What do you need to do to become a footballer? Analysing yourself honestly. You know, because so many kids, adults as well, they think they're better than what they are. They don't agree with that bit of criticism. You can't take criticism. You've got to be able to take it and use it. I'll show you. You know what I mean? If you need to work your left foot, go in the garden as a kid and go and work your left foot. If you need to work on tackling, work on it. If you need to work, every part of your game, go and work on. But you have to work harder than everyone else.
Self-awareness, in terms of what you're good at, what you need to improve on. I think a big thing, people don't want to work on the stuff they're not so good at because it's tough. But like you said, to reach any level, that's what you really need to focus on.
And see, for that, with the working hard, this is where the last bit comes in. You need luck. But I tell you what, if you work as hard like as anyone, or you work harder than anyone, you learn a bit of luck. Now that luck might not last forever. Mine didn't. But my luck got me. I got lucky as well. Do you know what I mean? It got me so far. Like, you need that. You need to work relentlessly, and your luck will come.
And would you do it all again?
I still think for a lot of decisions I made, certainly as a kid, would be very much the same. Obviously, if you can see the future. And if I knew my career was going to fall off a cliff with injuries, I would have went to Chelsea. I would have took that one. That would have been the one. Or what I would have done when Newcastle wanted us, I would have Like Newcastle's my team, and they wanted us for years and years and years.
It's funny, see when you first start out, money is like, you don't even care about it. It's just the love of the game you want to play. And I think as an adult, when you realise how badly you get treated in football and how quickly things can change, it's then you look back going, I wish I'd maybe took.
And it's easy to look at that, and in hindsight, it's like, but this is where everyone needs to realise. You see, when you see like say for, I don't know, Scotland getting to the Euros and getting the England and doing well, and certain players scoring a goal in the Premier League or winning the Premier League, that is the very, very pinnacle of what you're seeing.
Yeah,
you're not seeing like I don't know, like let's use Cole Palmer for instance. Like they'll think, oh, he's lucky now, he's getting that opportunity, but the time and effort that kid must have put in to get to where he's at. Do you know what I mean? You have to work harder than everyone else. Like I can't say anything else. You have to. You
need to sacrifice a lot.
Sacrifices.
Dedication, pretty much planning your day, what you're eating, when you're training, the training you're doing being specific to game-related stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's where what we do now in terms of coaching is so important. You need somebody that knows the game that can help you work on these things.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. When you look at successful athletes, they've got good people around them. They can give them good advice.
Yeah.
And you touched on it earlier, but you need to have good self-awareness.
That's the one of the biggest ones. And you know, like when you look at certain things as well, I think one massive thing for me was I was a kid playing with men. Like I think, and like we was talking about street football before.
Yeah.
You remember as well, like 10-year-old, you're playing in the street with 15-year-olds and getting kicked. Do you know what I mean? And it's the best thing for you. Now, because that doesn't happen, not as many kids are as resilient as we used to be.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And like with my son, Jack, like I love what you do at Rapids. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I love when he's playing out and he comes back. Obviously, I don't love him being covered in bruises, like, but because he just gets stuck in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He'd be a bit upset, but that'll build him up resilience-wise when he's a bit older. It'll come in, like where a lot of kids.
Well, you want them to have a tough mentality.
Well, you need that. Because when you play football, when you're 17 and you're playing the first team, you're playing against 35-year-olds.
100%. And it's like, where it's verbal, where it's physical, it's like you have to deal with these things in sport because it's a competitive environment. And it's like if you control the controllables, which is how you feel about yourself, and have that resilience to keep going no matter what, you're going to do relatively well.
I know.
And I'm similar. It's funny because in training I don't really give fouls. Because I think a lot of the time it's like when somebody's going for the ball and somebody maybe gets kicked, they're not really hurt.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You can tell when a kid's hurt or not. So we're very quick to be like, get up, go again. And very quickly they change their mindset for the fact they don't stay down now.
Yeah. I think you're so right. We do exactly the same. And I think it comes from the shout from the side.
100%.
Like, rather than, are you okay, son?
Yeah.
Because that makes them stay down.
Yeah.
If you're like, come on, you're brave as anything, come on, son. Up the get. Do you know what I mean? It's just how you speak to people and your approach. And if you want to get the best out of someone, you speak to them well, you will get that 9 times out of 10.
No, thank you very much, Josh. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you and learning about your career. And I'll look forward to working together in our future camps.
Definitely, mate.